Hello! Today we're gonna dig into Decentralized Autonomous Organization on gno.land and build our first one. A Decentralized Autonomous Organization, so DAO, is an organization based on the blockchain. It can handle votes from registered members through a proposal to execute actions on the blockchain. A good example is the organization of a protocol. Any new change on the protocol can be suggested as a new vote if it is correct to a majority of the members, so through the condition established at the beginning, the change is going to be applied on the protocol. It is done this way on Solidity. Let's take an everyday use case. I am in an organization composed of 3 members and we have a total of 5 coins. I want to propose to finance a new project with 3 coins. Any proposal can be accepted and executed if 50% of the members of the organization vote yes, and if we have the approval of the administrator. So here is our case. I propose the funding and I create a proposal that will execute the resource. The resource will send the money to the project. We then proceed to a vote, and in that case, the proposal is funded, and so the money is drawn to the resource that will then send it to my project. In the other case, the proposal can be rejected, and so the resource is not executed. The vote will keep its money. The outcome, if approved before the deadline, the project is funded, otherwise the proposal is rejected. DAOkit lets you create this kind of organization, and it's composed of 3 components. DAOkit has its core package, which manage the proposal and the resources, BaseDAO, which manage the members and the roles, and DAOcond for condition, which handle condition for proposal execution. To implement DAOkit, we have to add the roles, which are composed of a name and a description, and the members, which is an address and their roles. To initialize the DAO, we have the global variable, and then we initialize the member store, which will store the members with the initial roles and member we defined earlier. We define the condition where the proposal will be executed. So in our case, 60% of the members of the organization must vote yes, and 1 member with the role finance officer has to vote yes as well. And then we just call the new function from BaseDAO with the name, description, the member store we defined earlier, and the condition. To let the members vote, we have to expose the vote function, which we'll call the public DAO function, the executes, and we have to render to have a little interface. To create any new condition, we need to define the function for the condition, so evaluation, signal, render, and render with vote. We go on it right after. And to create a new resource, we have to define an action and an action handler, which for the action will be the contents and the action handler, the executor. Let's explore the DAO we previously presented. We have the initial roles, the initial members, constituted of my own address, the member stores, the conditions, and the initialization of the DAO. To get my own address, I did gno key list, which will list my own address, or I can go in gno dev and type A and get also their balance. And if you want to add a new key, you can do gno key add and the name of the keys. By doing gno dev dot, we can go on the page and we can explore our newly created DAO. We have the list of the members, we have the proposal, which we can see there is none at the time, and the proposal history. To create a new proposal, we need to call the propose function, which will require a DAOkit proposal object. The interface will only let you call with a string object, so you will need to get through gno key, make transaction, run, and a script. So in our case, we'll create our proposal objects and even be able to print some actions. Our payload will be constituted of the address of the member we want to add in the DAO with its role. We call the BaseDAO new add member actions, which is a predefined actions to add the new members. We create our proposal with a title, a description, and the action we previously created, and then we call my DAO propose. By doing gno key, make tx, run, the necessary according parameter, and the script, we'll be able to launch the scripts. And we can see the transaction succeed. By going back on the interface in contents, our proposal has been added. The status is open at the time, and we have the status of the current votes. We need 60% of the members that vote yes. So at the time, we have 0% from the 3 members. And we need to have 1 member with public relationship that vote also yes. To vote on any proposal, we need to use the vote functions. We set the proposal ID, the vote, which can be yes, no, or abstain. and by copying the comments and by typing a correct address, we voted on the proposal. As we can see, 33% of the members vote yes, and the public relationship rules member has voted yes. By making everyone vote yes, we can say we meet all the conditions to execute the proposal. By going on the DAO and actions, we can go on execute, type the proposal ID, so 1, copy the comments, execute the transaction with a correct address, type the password, and the transaction has been realized. By going back on the interface, we can check if the members has been added. So we can see the proposal has been executed and the member has been added. That's the basic use case of a DAO. Let's see how to create a custom conditions. To create a custom condition, we need to implement the condition interface. In our case, we do the no role condition, which will verify how many members has no role in our DAO. The condition interface is composed of eval, signal, render, and render with votes. Eval lets you evaluate whether the condition is satisfied based on current votes. Signal calculates the completion progress of the condition, so 0 to 1 like a progress bar. Render displays the condition requirement for UI purpose, and render with vote generates a detailed vote status report. To help ourselves create our conditions, we'll have a function to check if our condition is valid for one member. So in our case, as no role, we'll check if a member has no role. And total yes will verify how many votes from role-less members are yes. We'll iterate through every ballot to check if they are yes and if they are from role-less members. We then call evaluate and call our different functions to check if it is true. This condition will be executed when any of the members called the execute functions we previously explained. If it is satisfied, then the proposal is executed. Our last part is the creation of a custom resource. In our case, we create a little blog that handles simple posts with a title and a contents from a static list, and we created a resource to add a new post. It has what we call a kind, which is an ID. We have the action new post, which are the parameters needed to execute the actions, a string to represent it, and what we call actions, which is the data, and an handler, which is an executor. We use the DAOkit new actions functions to create an actions with all different data, and the handler will execute the actions from the content of the post actions we defined earlier. In a nutshell, actions define the contents and handler define the functions to execute the content. As we can see here, we get the contents of the new post, we verify if it is okay, and then we call the function from the blog new post. In that case, it is these functions. To add this resource to our DAO at the initialization, we create a resource with the handler, the condition to execute this resource, and the name and the descriptions. And then we add it to our DAO through DAO private. The DAO manage the handler and the transaction manage the data, so the actions. To see our resource executed, we first need to create our proposal with our said resource. So in our case, my DAO new post actions. So our post will be hello world. We set it in our proposal and we call propose. On the website, a new proposal has been added, sample proposal, which will execute the new post. To execute it, we need a condition of 10% of the member that vote yes. In our case, I'm the only member of the DAO, so it will be very easy. I go in actions. I put security fast. I take the address I set in my initial members. I put it in votes. I put it in my key address. I vote on the correct proposal ID, which is just present there. And I vote yes. I copy the comment, I type it, I enter my password, and it has been sent. By going back on the content, we can see 100% of the members voted yes. So now we can execute it. We just go on execute. We type the proposal ID 1. We take it. We paste it in the terminal. And our transaction has been sent, and by going in contents, it has been executed. By going back in our DAO, we can see our first post that has been updated, which is not very fancy, but it does the work. Thank you for listening. Next episode, we visit a board realm, which will let you create a Reddit-like blog. So see you next time.